Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video, I would explain you a finished product of a procurement process mining solution within Celonis. So what you see in the screen is a finished product for a procurement process where we're going to drive some kind of improvement to improve the overall supplier on-time delivery performance for a company. Yeah. So let me first explain you, okay, what is why this supplier delivery performance is important and what is supplier reliability. Yeah? So basically, supplier reliability in procurement is more of a procurement team's performance depends on its ability to reliably receive supplies. So basically, how reliable the procurement team is managing the suppliers to get all the delivery from the supplier on time. So this is quite important because any delay in the delivery would have issues on the productions or fulfilling the end sales orders. So consider this, right? Okay, consider an example of Apple, who manufacture Apple iPhones or iPads. Let's say one of the supplier is not delivering on time. Let's say the display, the Apple display or the screen supplier is not delivering it on time, then they won't be able to meet the demand of the Apple new version, okay, which they want to sell in the market. So that would delay the overall process and the go to market. It affects a lot on the actual company. That would have a big impact, okay, on the overall sales. That would affect the overall revenue within a company, and it actually affects the cash flow. Yeah. So now a higher on time in full rate is a key indicator. Yeah. So basically, on time in full is the key performance indicator to measure the supplier reliability. Yeah. So now let's see how Celonis can help the procurement team to increase the on time in full, that is OTIF rate. Yeah. So in this dashboard, you can see at a glance the on time and full rate is trending downwards. If you see this, it's going down. This red one, yeah, so which is 48%, but going down, yeah. So which is concerning. So this leads to a potential value opportunity of £4 million. Sorry, $4 million. So every inefficiency, it is an opportunity. Yeah. So let's see how Celonis address this one. So basically, what Celonis provides is is a dashboard where you can investigate how the process works. So now let's look into investigation of this. So when I click on investigate, so this exactly shows the process, right? Okay, this exactly shows the purchasing process. Okay, from creating the requisition till the recording of invoice receipt, that goods receipt, and this is the procure to pay. Yeah. So that process. Yeah. So what you're seeing here is a real-time X-ray of your procurement process based on the transactional data that is there in the source system. So by default, okay, we're seeing this as the most common path this process takes. Yeah. But what as we expand, okay, if we increase this by more activity, so you can see there is a activity that happens which is partial delivery. So which is something, okay, which we don't want, because on time and full means, okay, someone, a supplier is delivering on time, but full means, okay, whatever we have requested as a quantity, they're delivering in full. But we can see a lot of suppliers or 162K cases are delivering partially. They're not fulfilling the overall quantity. Yeah. So this is a deviation, yeah, from the actual process. So now let's see, okay, what is the impact of this? Okay, if I see this with this activity, 14% of the overall purchase order that has been created has this, that is 161,686, right? Okay, out of the 1.18 million. Yeah. So now, this is actually taking 2 days, plus to extra time to do the goods received. Yeah. So, so that's a major issue. Yeah. So basically, the delivery time has increased by 2 days. So that is an issue because, okay, it will not fulfill the on time rate. Yeah. They will be delivering it late. So now, like, you know, if we add more activity to this, so let's see how the real process looks like. So if we add more activity, it looks like this. Let's say if I keep adding everything full, so here the number of activity is full, number of flows is full. So this looks like a spiral diagram. So we cannot, you can see a lot of opportunities here, but it's very complex, okay, to analyze. But using process mining, so we can diagnose the who, what, where, when, and why of this process deviation, and it automatically prioritize them by impact. So one of the top opportunities, would be the late deliveries. Yeah, so we have to reduce the late deliveries. Then how we can look at it is, we can look at this. Okay, this is another specific dashboard built for supply reliability. So this has been built in a way, the process is here. It shows you the top inefficiencies. You can see partial deliveries, late supply deliveries, delivery date pushouts. So in this, let's look into this late supply delivery, okay, which is a problem. Yeah, and there's an impact of this. It is impacting 230 POs. This is the one, serious problem, okay, for this procurement process within this company. Now let's look into what is the impact this is producing. So now if you go into this, you can see on an average they're delivering 3.3 days late. So if we realize 10% of this overall cases that are delivering late, we will realize 3.1 million. So if you see here, delayed deliveries of direct procurement material result in the need of build up expensive inventory buffers. So for example, when someone is delivering late, if the production is urgent, we might buy it using some just in time or something at a higher cost, okay, from a different supplier, to make sure the production is not stopped. Because if the production is stopped, there's a lot of cost, and it piles up inventory also, because we buy it from someone and use it, but when this supplier delivers it, it directly goes into the warehouse, and that increases the overall stock in the warehouse. That will result in excess stock, which is basically a holding more money, okay, which you are not using, which actually has a direct impact on the working capital. So now let's look deeper. So actually this process mining analysis reveals that, like you know inaccurate internal planning parameters. So they do not, the planning parameters, okay, within the uh, like you know uh, uh, ERP do not align, okay, with the actual supply lead time. So there is a discrepancy, okay, between the master data lead time within the ERP and the actual supply lead time that has been negotiated with the supplier, okay, in the contract. And this leads to an inaccurate planning of order delivery. Like for example, the supplier says they will deliver in 10 days. But if your master data is saying, okay, 7 days, which means there is a 3 days discrepancy. Of course, when you ask the supplier, they would say they have delivered on time, but as per the lead time in your system, it shows, okay, late, and that's an issue, and that has to be resolved. Okay, so now let's look into how this Celonis tool automatically resolve that. Yeah, so you can actually set up an action flow, so that would actually helps you to resolve this issue. So this is like you to resolve this issue. So intelligence automation, okay, within Celonis, which is called action flow. So this would basically this action flow bridges the gap between the insights and execution by orchestrating all the moving parts across a complex technical landscape. So it interacts with people, systems of record, enterprise workflow, and even RPA tools. So you can integrate this with many different tools. Okay, it can be an ERP, it can be a CRM, or if you want to call a different bot, okay, using an RPA, you can utilize that also. Yeah, so basically this action flow analyzes incoming purchase orders, that is this one, to find patterns for lead time discrepancy. So it will take all the purchase orders, okay, that are placed, and it will analyze for discrepancies, okay, between the supplier lead time and the master data lead time. So by analyzing, okay, historical data, if there is a consistent issue, if certain suppliers for certain materials, okay, it's always an issue. What it does is, okay, it goes directly into an ERP. It update the planning parameter, okay, with the actual supplier lead time, so that there is no discrepancy between the master data lead time and the contracted lead time with the supplier. and it informs the procurement specialist. So if it is a new case, if it is done, okay, involved, okay, one time, then probably the system doesn't want to take a decision. What it does is, okay, it would contact the vendor directly just to confirm, okay, whether that is the right lead time, and also it would inform the procurement specialist saying that, okay, they have communicated with the vendor saying that, okay, just to double confirm the lead time. Yeah, so that once we know what is the right one, basically that can be updated. So this can be further enhanced, like for example, let's say contacting the vendor is using an email. Yeah, so then you're informing the procurement specialist. Then you can add another RPA bot that will monitor the email for a reply from that particular vendor. So when the vendor replies and he confirms the lead time, then the RPA bot can automatically take that and go and update an SAP planning parameter, which is completely automated, very less human intervention. But ideally, if it is not consistent kind of cases, a specialist from a procurement department has to look into it and confirm it and probably create a case in service now to resolve it. This is how we do it. Okay, but Celonis has a nice way to do this also. Like, basically for inconsistent uh, items, okay, where it happens not often, you can actually create a ticket within Celonis. Yeah. So the way it looks is, it would create a ticket against a particular procurement specialist name, which he can go into that particular purchase order and he can actually look into what is the actual the right lead time for that. He can look into what is the problem, okay, what is the solution he has to do, and basically he can update the delivery dates uh, based on the experience he has within the company, and he can go ahead and update it. So once he updates it, it would reflect in the system, and you can see that would actually increase the on time in full to a better percentage, that is 62 now, and it has realized value is 2.6 million. Yeah, by this workflow automation from the intelligence from process mining, it has taken automatic remediation, and that remediation has increased the overall KPI, that is actually giving them a return of investment of 2.6 million. And this is how an actual solutioning of Celonis works in real time for any company. Yeah. In real world, okay, this is how it works. So, and this is the level, okay, what we build. And what I showed you is only one use case for one process. Within a process, you can build multiple use case, and a company can have, okay, multiple different processes. I hope this would have given you a very good idea of, okay, how we can utilize a process mining tool like this to identify what are the inefficiencies and understand the root cause, and also build a solution to resolve that root cause or the inefficiency, and that would give return of investment for the company who are utilizing it. All right, yeah, so I think that's it for this lesson. This should have clearly explained to you, okay, how this is used in a real world situation. Yeah. In the next video, we will wrap it up, and I'll talk about some additional stuff, okay, what you can learn, and I'll talk about what are the kind of jobs that are available in this area of work, and finally, the closure of this overall training. If you have any comments, feel free to leave it in the comment box. Yeah.